Hi, I'm Elisha Zumwalt, and I'm going to be reading Skeleton Man by Joseph Bruchac. I'm going to be reading chapters 14 and 15, and maybe 16 if there's time. When the school day ends, I hang back from the crowd of kids who head out the door. They're happy about the weekend. For them, the clock hands have been almost standing still, while for me, they've been going double time. Like my brain is going round and around like a top that's out of control. But it has kept circling back to one idea. It's a crazy one, but the only one I have been able to come up with. Like the kids, the workmen have been eager for the day to end. They even left before us. That's my first real break, and that and the fact that they left their toolboxes open again. Sure, they put a yellow ribbon across the hall in front of the library to keep people out. You know how easy it is to duck under a yellow ribbon? And though my backpack is a lot heavier when I get onto the bus, no one notices. When I get off the bus, I stand for a long time, looking down the darkened road. I feel so scared. I should run away now, but where? And what good would that do me? Not only that, but for some reason I feel as if running away now wouldn't just affect me, but my whole family, my real family. Dinner is waiting on the table for me. It's pizza, and it looks good, and it smells even better. And there's an open bottle of Coca-Cola, too, my favorite drink. I sit down and I look at the pizza, and then I shake my head. I won't eat any of this dinner, either. What's wrong? My so-called uncle's whispery voice comes suddenly from behind me, and it makes me jump. I turn to see him in the doorway, standing with his back to me. Feeling sick again? He asks. There's a tone to his voice that worries me. It isn't concern, it's scarcism. It is like he is saying that he knows more than I do, that he knows what is going to happen and I don't. I hope he is wrong. I'm just tired, I answered. I take my bag and I go upstairs and I go into the room and I lock the door. I take a book out of my bag and try to read it. The letters of the words all look like strange insects crawling over the page. But time doesn't crawl by. Before long, it is dark outside. I turn out the light in the room and I wait. His footsteps come up the stairs and pause for a long time. Too long, in front of the door. When the sunk of the outside lock comes, I start breathing again. I stuff the pillows under the covers to make it look like I am there. I crouch in the shallowest corner by the windows. I start counting the times I breathe in and out. I am up to 3,004 when I hear the sound of the door downstairs. Yes, I think. It's just as I hoped. He's keeping to the same routine he follows every night. He always spends time in that tool shed before he comes up and goes to bed. I peek out of the lower corner window and see his shadowy shape cross the yard and the light go on in his tool shed. My feet don't want to move. Now I say to them. With small, timid steps, I take my way over to my backpack, open it, and fish around for what I want. A heavy thing with a pistol grip. I pull it out. A power screwdriver. The door may be locked, but the hinges are on the inside. The wiring of the drill sounds terribly loud, even though I keep telling myself it isn't. I stop everything and listen. I don't hear anything, and I continue. 1 screw, 2 screws, 3. The screws are long and heavy, and I put each one into my pocket as I come out. I have to get up on my toes to reach the top ones. I drop the 5th screw, and it hits the floor with a loud thunk. Again, I stop, work, and listen, but all I hear is silence. I start breathing once more. Finally, the last screw is removed. I stand up and I take the foot-long crowbar from my pack. I pry it between the jamb and the door. The door pops free with a soft thump. I grip hold and pull it toward me, and the locks slip out. Now that it is free on both sides, the door almost falls over, but I lean my shoulder against it and manage to pop it against the door jamb. I slip out and pull my pack out after me. I can't get the door exactly back into place where it was, but but by leaning it a little, I make it look like it is still closed. I should have looked out the window before I left the room to see the light was showing under the tool shed door, but it was too late for that now. I put the pack over my shoulder and then started down the stairs, stepping sideways on each stair to try to keep them from creaking. It takes me a year to reach the bottom. Now, I'm only a few steps from the front door, but that is not where I am headed. I need evidence. I head for the room with the computer in it. There has to be something in there that I can take and use as proof that my uncle isn't who he says he is, proof that I really am in danger. The door is open again, and the same light is shining from the computer screen, but I don't focus on that. Instead, I turn to the pile of glossy pages next to the keyboard. I turn one over, and it almost makes my heart stop beating. It is a photo of my mother, and it is not an old picture, but a recent one. How I know that? Because she is wearing the same brand new blouse she was wearing the last day I saw her and Dad go out the door. But she doesn't look exactly the same as she did on that day. On that day, she didn't have her hands tied together, and she wasn't leaned back against a rough board wall and a shed, and she didn't have a piece of duct tape over her mouth. I stopped looking at the pictures after finding one of my mother. Things are starting to make more sense, and no sense at all. All I know is that I have to take the whole stack of pictures from this computer desk. I put them into the folder in my backpack. There's other stuff on his desk too. A list of things that have to do with databases and hacking into computers, like the one at the bank where Dad works. I grab that stuff and then add a handful of computer disks lying on the desk. I zip the back pocket tight and put the backpack over my shoulder. Once I get rid of the tools, it won't be that heavy to carry, but I don't take out the rest of the tools I've borrowed from the school, not yet. I kneel down and I make sure that my sneakers are tied and double knotted. I'm not going to change my plan about getting to the outside phone booth near the park entrance where I can call Miss Sabas, but I am going to add one thing to it. I'll walk out the back door toward the tool shed. I've looked at that yard so many times from my window, but I've never been in it before. It is his place, and he told me to stay away from it. But that he needed to. Not that he needed to. Until now, I've tried to avoid any place where he might be. There are decorative stones on the ground that I used to be part of the abandoned, overgrown garden. They are white and round and the size of golf balls. I pick up 3 of them. I'm a good runner, maybe the best in school, but I'm not a pitcher. I might miss on the first throw, but I don't. The stone sails through my upstairs window with a crash that is satisfying to me as it is loud. I don't need to throw another stone. He's heard it, and he comes out of the tool shed moving so fast that it scares me. He doesn't move like an old man, but like a kind of big cat. He looks in all directions and seems to be sniffing the air, but he doesn't see me or smell me hiding behind the cedar bush next to the shed. He stares at the house and then loops across the yards and goes inside. I'm counting under my breath as I dart into the tool shed. When I get to 100, I tell myself I'll turn and run no matter what. It is so clean and neat inside. The shelves are spotless. The tools hang on pegboards and mechanical. It's mechanical. It doesn't look as if a human being has ever been in here. 10, 11, 12. I see that the back wall is at a funny angle. I try to push it and it moves like a door and then stuck. 6, 13, 14, 15. I pull out the crowbar and pry it open. There's a small room behind it with a dirt floor, but it's not just dirt. In the middle of the floor is something that looks like a ring. 22, 23. I kneel by the ring, brush dirt away, and see that it is connected to a trapdoor that is held shut by a hinged metal strap that fits over the thick metal staple. I pull out the pin that holds it shut. Then I take a deep breath and pull on the ring. The door is heavy, but it slowly begins to move. Dirt hisses off as I lift it. There's another door, a metal grunting, fastened with a padlock. I can look down through it into the dark room, hollowed out like a cave under the tool shed. Hello, I hiss. 27, 28. A hand reaches up to touch the ranting. I recognize that hand. Dad, I whisper. Our fingers touch, link briefly before he falls back. My heart is pounding. Is it really him? He's alive. There's so much I want to say, but I can't make my voice come out.